What happens when your seller overprices their home, and what are those consequences in both time and money? In addition, are buyers ready to buy now that the election is over? And if so, when is the best time?
Plus, we will discuss mortgage, what happened with the pending sale. This is Real Estate Backstory, and my name is Ming Richardson. I am the compliance broker for Maximum One Realty and Realtor Partners.
I'm Alan Richardson. I'm the managing broker here at Maximum Realtor Partners. And so we want to jump right into what's going on with pricing. And so there's some new studies out, and it's actually exactly the same as it has been for years. The longer that a property stays on the market, the more price reductions it has to take. And so the reason that this is becoming kind of a timely issue for us right now is because like a year ago our days on market were in the 25 to 30 days on the market range, and we're almost pushing 50 days on the market. It's kind of our average out there. So where we're at right now, we're having properties that are sitting on the market longer. Now a
Mm-hmm.
lot of that has to do with our sellers. Let me back up. I know our sellers want as much money as possible. We want to help our sellers get the absolute maximum value for their property. That being said, the idea of throwing property out there at a list price that is not matched by the market demand is not smart, because what we see is that you've got really 3 weeks in order to fetch a full price offer. Normally it's 2 weeks, but like right now the data shows it's like 99 point something if, up once you hit the 3 week mark. Once the property sits on the market for more than 4 weeks, what we see is that in order to sell that property,
We'll have
price
to reduce it.
yeah, the price reductions have to come in. And so for properties that are sitting on the market for months, we're seeing where those properties are selling at 94% of the original list price. I mean, that's a 6% price reduction, which is, I mean, we're talking about huge money, but that's just the list price. See, the real kicker here is it's not just the list price,
If
right?
you think about it, when you're in the market for that long, you probably are very motivated to sell. So the buyer agent knows that, and they will start asking for concessions such as closing costs, repairs, upgrades, buying down points, and what have you to make it this home affordable and what's in the best light of the buyer who is interested in your home and probably is the only one that's interested in your home for a while.
See, what we really want, we're here to talk to realtors and the agents about, look, we never want to come across with our sellers as the fact that we're trying to make you sell your home for less than
We're
what it's
not.
worth. But we have to care enough to be able to share what's really happening in the market. And that starts by saying, look, we're going to do a comparative market analysis or an equity assessment for you, and we're going to look at what all the other homes inside your neighborhood. What are those? What have they been listing for? How long have they been sitting on the market? What are they selling? How much concessions are they giving? We have to give our sellers those kind of numbers, but we have to be willing to also say, look, no buyers in this market are willing to spend that for your property. And so the idea that we're going to throw it out there, I mean, there was a time like summer of 2021, we had way more buyers than we had sellers. And so we saw prices that were really kind of going astronomical, and folks were fighting over properties for the most part.
Absolutely.
That's not our market right now. We're in a market where you overprice your home, it's sitting on
It's
the
going to sit
market.
on the market.
And then once it sits there, not only are you taking price reductions, but now you're throwing in all the other things that being listed, right? And what we end up is we end up with sellers that end up selling for 10% less than what their original list price was. When if they would have just listed the property in the very beginning at the correct list price, they would have fetched a much higher net to seller at the
Well, not
very
only
end.
that, you got to think about the time that you are holding on to this property.
Yeah.
That is a holding cost. You are paying mortgage. I understand that you recoup some of the payment
Hmm.
amount, but at the same time, you are incurring holding cost.
Yeah. So right now we are seeing still positive property value appreciation here in the United States. Overall, it really kind of depends on, because several different groups track it. It could be FHA, Freddie Mac, Zillow, Case Shiller, all these folks track national home prices, and all of them come in somewhere in that 3 to 4% range is what we're seeing. And honestly, that's a very healthy place for us to be. Is it the double digit price growth that we saw during 21, 22?
No, if
No.
you look at the graph indicate that we were out of line during that time.
Yeah, I mean,
And it's not us in particular. It's because the interest rate was so low
well,
that it makes home
well,
affordability very
we
easy.
also had a lot of folks that because of COVID, they just
Hmm.
wanted a home and they didn't care what was really going on with it. They was going to get a house. They wanted to get away from all the other people and do it at their
Correct.
own place.
Correct.
So, we're not in that kind of market, but even though, we're like, look, we're seeing higher days on market. We're seeing where we're moving into a balanced market. Don't think that buyers aren't buying and sellers aren't selling and all these other kind of things. Like we are still seeing positive value appreciation. We're not seeing property values decline, and I don't. There's no reason why we should in Georgia, especially, kind of thing.
And the consumer housing sentiment that is moving up slightly after the election. So
Well, not just after it's been actually heading up. Our consumer sentiment is actually the highest it's been for 2 years now, and it's heading in a really positive trend, and that's so good for real estate,
absolutely.
and how that is. So there is Redfin just did this big study talking about after the election. How you feeling about moving? What do you think about housing? That kind of stuff. 22% of U.S. citizens are more likely to move after the election, kind of thing. So, like 1 out of 5 is interested in buying. 26% of them, almost a quarter, are interested in doing it in another state.
Correct.
So, but we've already seen a lot of migration issues going on. We're kind of we're very lucky to be in Georgia because Georgia has a positive net flow immigration in there. The thing is that we're seeing a lot of activity. One other thing that Redfin talked about was the fact that since the election, property views on their website are up by 25%. So you can,
Which means the buyer are very interested. They're just waiting for the mortgage rate to come down, even though the Fed has dropped its points. Um, the mortgage company has not caught up just yet.
yeah, I mean, we're gonna talk about more about mortgages in a minute, but Ming brings up a fantastic point, and that is, like we're seeing a ton of buyer activity out there. That activity hasn't equated over into sales yet, but it takes a little bit of time to do
Real
that.
estate's not
Yeah.
instantaneously.
Well, not only that, we're heading into, I mean, we're in November, we're heading into December.
Holidays.
A lot of folks, but now's the time to engage. Now's the time to be reaching out, talking to your folks about what's going on with the market, what's happening with interest rates, all these kind of things.
And honestly, in the holiday season is the best time to start a conversation.
Well, not
You
just
have a
that.
has
Uh,
a reason for the season,
Yeah, but in addition to all that, Atom, which is a huge data aggregator inside the real estate space, ATDOM, they went through and released what is the best month of the year to buy a home, and the best month of the year is
according to Adam, is November.
November, right? Where we're at right now. November is the best time of the year to buy a home because that has the one that has the best buyer's premium. Meaning, this is when you're going to see the most number of homes on the market with the highest number of reductions and those kind of things.
And also sell a concession.
Yeah, yeah. So according to Adam, like now is the right time to buy. Don't wait. Um, Another interesting thing that kind of came out in the news this past week was
Who's got the happiest states?
yeah, I mean, there was a ranking about what is the happiest states in the U.S. and Georgia comes in kind of closer to the middle of the pack. Hawaii is,
Number
just so you
one.
know, Hawaii is number
I
one
mean,
on
how would
there.
you not be happy in Hawaii? Come
Yeah,
on.
well, that's the whole point, right? And Georgia comes in around number 20, which is not terrible. It's definitely not the top 10, though, right? But understand that like happiness comes from like pursuing your passions, having a good work life balance, maintaining a good emotional support network. These kind of things are what's really important. Um, like you can be happy anywhere you are, and
Hmm.
as real estate professionals, I can just like it's so important that we have that really solid attitude of
Absolutely.
a very like an attitude of gratitude, just being happy where you are, engaging with people, being interested in folks. All these are, and the reason I bring it is because this is good for your business.
Absolutely.
Like nobody wants to work with a realtor who's like, hey, how are you? Like those. No one wants to be with you when
Be
you're that kind
passionate
of
about your
person.
community.
Yeah, it's really really important. So, National Association of NAR, National Association of Realtors, they released their annual home buyer report. One thing that came up that we found that was pretty interesting, and we kind of want to share with you is how many people are out there buying multi-generational households.
17%.
I mean, we're talking almost
That's
one out of five.
pretty
That's a
that's
pretty
pretty good
significant.
number.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really is. Now, the challenge for us is especially here in Georgia, buying a multi-generational house, you have to read between the lines. Like if you look in Georgia MLS or you look in FMLS, like because the way the zoning laws are here in Georgia, you're looking for single family homes. But
Correct.
single family homes means that it's zoned for a single family. However, it will have two kitchens and two laundry rooms, and and most of the time it'll have an upstairs and a downstairs and those kind of things. And so, knowing that we have this many buyers that are looking for a multi generational house, understanding what are their big motivators, like the most important thing when folks, when families decide to buy a multi generational house, the main reason is savings, right? How
Absolutely.
much it's going to cost them to be able to do that, and then in addition to that, we're right here. We can care for you, right? So the younger folks can help care for the older folks, that kind of stuff.
Or the old folks and watch your grandbabies.
Yeah, both ways, right? So there's a lot of benefits in there for why that is. But when you have a buyer looking for it, a lot of times it's hard to you kind of have to be a little creative. You have to look for you got to read the listing descriptions. You're looking for upstairs, downstairs. You're looking for multiple kitchens. You're looking for multiple um,
Access point.
yeah, those
Because
kind of.
sometimes you want to be able to drive down the basement portion instead of having to climb the stairs.
Well, and like the thing is that where you're not going to find them in our MLS is in multifamily housing.
Correct.
Multifamily housing means that it's multifamily zoned, and so we're talking,
Strictly.
so we're talking about duplexes, triplexes, quads,
Sure.
and largers. What you're going to see there, and so it's still going to be inside single family. You're just going to have to do a little bit of digging. If you have a seller that's interested in listing these properties, please highlight these benefits. If you have a property that has two kitchens and multiple living spaces and things like that works for a multi-generational family, this can be a great selling feature for your seller. So don't miss out on that point.
Absolutely.
So our inflation numbers came in, and they came in kind of blah, right? I mean, they didn't go up. They really didn't go down either, kind of thing. They're kind of hanging out there, and so the mortgage market kind of responded with a blah, and so we haven't seen more rates move hardly at
Not
all
at
this
all,
past week. I
really.
mean, it went down 1/100%. Okay, so basically zero. But there are a couple of things dealing with mortgages right now that we do want to share
Hmm.
with you, right? And so, first thing is that jumbo mortgages are gone. Now, I mean, okay,
Well,
it's
not
not gone.
gone. It's available, but the applicants that are applying for jumbo are very rare.
It's at a 10-year low for jumbo mortgages. So, um, just seeing that there's that few jumbo mortgages being applied for out there makes me think that we're going to be seeing a lot more downward pressure on larger, more expensive properties right now.
Yep.
The other
The
thing,
luxury market
yeah,
may take a hit.
yeah, and so it's just kind of a leading indicator. I mean, I don't know for sure that's what's really going on. We're going to see how things kind of roll out, but as it stands right now, kind of a cautionary tale there.
Correct.
Now, the other thing that we want to talk about in terms of mortgages is what's happening in FHA. Okay, so right now, FHA. See, the great part about FHA for a lot of our borrowers is that they only got to bring 3.5% down.
Hmm.
But right now, a fifth of all FHA mortgages have a second mortgage attached to them, and
What?
what that second mortgage is down payment assistance. They're 100% FHAs. The fact that 20 something percent of our borrowers are taking advantage of
The DPA
a
program?
DPA program, because what we're seeing is as long as they qualify for the mortgage, in most cases, they're going to qualify for the 100% financing. So that means that it basically turns an FHA mortgage into a 100% loan. Now that second mortgage that's on there, it is a shorter term mortgage. It's at a slightly higher fixed interest rate, those kind of things. Your lender, call Sharon if you need to get the exact details on that. But just understand that you know we're seeing where our borrowers are being really creative. We have to make sure that we are as well being creative and bring them out. I don't expect that you as a real estate professional are going to go write a loan for somebody. However, when you can say, well, there is 100% FHA out there, especially when you have borrowers or buyers who are like, I'm just a little bit tight on the funds on the beginning. Well, we might want to consider.
It's a
Have you
good
talked to your lender
option.
about the fact that right now a lot of these FHA mortgages, I mean, the highest number we've ever seen have are 100% mortgages out there.
Correct.
So a little bit of good news. So existing home sales jumped more.
In nearly 3 years.
Yeah.
So in 3 years' time, we have jump on resales.
Yeah. And this is not new construction. This is resales, which is a really, really nice thing. At the same time, one thing that we want to be real consistent about is that when we were talking about pricing earlier, like don't think that we're seeing values drop. We aren't seeing values drop. What we are seeing is that almost a third, 31% of our properties are,
If you list it right, it will go under contract within 2 weeks.
yeah, 31% of our listings go under contract within 2 weeks. So don't think that just because we're like, hey, but these are the properties that are what? Priced right. These are the
Correct.
ones that are there. So one other piece of news that we did want to kind of throw at you real quick. There are Texas is one of the largest states in the U.S. When it comes to migration, people moving to Texas. So there is a lot of people that are moving to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
However, we are, when you look at, there's also a huge number of people moving away from Texas, and we're number 4 as
For
far as
incoming.
for incoming people, where people, we're the 4th most popular destination for people moving out of Texas. And now, generally speaking, New York, New Jersey, and Florida are the 3 biggest areas where we see more people move here from. But now Texas is getting added to that list, which is kind of interesting when you really look at that.
Absolutely. So understand where your clients are coming in and going out of. That's helpful.
Yep.
Bring build a network to where you can do referrals,
Yep.
because that is something that you can definitely earn some your compensation from through the relationship.
Yeah. So get more real estate tips, tricks, ideas, these kind of things. Continue to watch. We're going to include a link to our masterminds if you want to see any additional content. Most of these are about lead generation, that kind of stuff, as well as join us for any of our continuing education classes. You can find us
in person.
at mx1training.com. Have a great week.
Thank you. Have a good day.